What up, what up, what up? Funny, at the end of the season, I end up making more videos than I do during the season. I don't know if that's telling over how the season went or, well, I guess I only really have one final left, so maybe it's just time for me. Who knows? Who cares? We're talking about the Rangers right now. Exit interviews were today. I'm not going to draw any conclusions from those exit interviews. I'm not going to honestly say anything about it, to be honest with you. Let me turn that fan on. I'm sorry. There's going to be a fan on today. I'm sweating. It's like 84 degrees right now in North Carolina. It's hot. It's freaking hot right now. It's only 2 o'clock. I got my AC running. My AC's on 80, and it's been running all morning. Yeah, it's unbelievably hot right now, and it's incredibly humid. We got a terrible thunderstorm last night. We're expecting another one today. So, yeah. All right, let's talk. It's gonna be in the 57 on Wednesday. Yuck. Anyways, before I begin, that's funny. Before I begin, I'm just checking Twitter one more time in case something aside from the Lindgren re-signing has happened. I don't see anything else that is new. Yeah, okay, so that's it. So just the Lindgren re-signing and the Eichel comments are really all that's really happened today. I'm not going to look at anything else. There were some things you could pull from the exit interviews for the Rangers that I should be looking at the camera, not my face. There were some things that in the exit interviews, questions about DQ that were interesting, and at least the responses were. I'm not going to dive into that. You already know my opinion on David Quinn. I'm not going to offer anything else. For the beginning of this video, I'm just going to reply to all your comments because it's easier for me to word them out than to type them out. And it's just a little bit more fun, a little bit more interactive. You guys get to see all your questions, see everyone who commented, and let's go from there. Southern McBride, yeah, I waited a couple of days to post the video because if I would have posted that as a knee-jerk reaction, that would have been pretty bad. I was actually at work when Gordon, I actually had just arrived at work when Gordon and JD were fired, and I seriously was going to take my lunch break 5 minutes into showing up to go in my car and just read this, but I'm glad I waited. Yeah, sad, but we already went over that. While we're thinking for no reason development the lack of the Rangers, and apparently I wonder what happens later on next season. Well, yeah, Julian, it's going to be one of those wait and see things. We know the Rangers made an offer on Jack Eichel last year, but that was under a different regime. So who knows where the Rangers stand on Jack Eichel these days? They might be like, well, maybe that's not what we're after, or maybe it's like, well, let's push him harder. So you don't know. We don't know the mentality of Drury and Sather and all them right now. I don't think we can sit back and speculate. But the Lindgren signing was freaking awesome, so they're off to a pretty good start. I'll give them that much. Who do you think we should have as our next coach? That's a good question. So, kind of like I said in that video, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know every single coach in the NHL and their coaching styles and who would work, where, when, and why. I will say this, though. The next Rangers coach, for those of you that listen to the Spit and Chicken podcast, every now and again they go over coaching situations and how they reflect on players, where a lot of it is you go from a stern coach to a player's coach to a stern coach to a player's coach, because typically when you're getting rid of a coach and replacing him with a new one, it's his style that wasn't working. There's really only two styles of coaching. There are coaches that are very stern with their players and coaches that are very loose with their players. There's not really very much in between. The ones that are in between typically aren't very successful. And it's those extremes that are turning teams into winners and losers. So that's the one thing I've noticed with coaching in the league. So when you have a stern coach like David Quinn that's very hard on their players, you got to expect that the next coach is going to be one that's a little bit more lax with their players. I guess a good example of that would be you had somewhat of a players coach in Tom Rennie, then you had a hardcore John Tortorella, then you had a players coach in Alain Vigneault, even though you could argue sometimes he was an idiot, and then you went to a stern coach in David Quinn. So, the next step would be a players coach, and I think that's kind of what you need right now. And when I say a players coach, I don't mean a guy that's going to let players slide and go under the radar. I just think a coach that's more willing to allow the players to grow and allow them to make mistakes and have them learn from the mistakes. And I got to clean that off my camera. Allow them to learn from their mistakes instead of berating them for it and kind of just shitting on them all the time and having them be scared of you. Probably going to see a coach that the Rangers players can confide in, something along those lines. So I don't know of any of the coaches available that are particularly that stand out in that field. I don't know. any of them, but I hope that next hire is a coach like that, because if this is assuming we fire DQ, which is not confirmed or nor denied, so I don't know. I just do hope and believe our next coach will be a player's coach, and probably that new coach will maybe last 2, maybe 3 years, and then we're going to see a really stern coach, and that's probably what's going to be. That stern coach is going to lead us through the playoff years. Yeah, that's funny, Rob. We need Heedle to become a legit center, in my opinion. The wingers are basically set aside from the. Yeah, I agree with you. You kind of in Filipino's defense, I actually thought Filipino had a pretty good year, but the numbers still really aren't there, despite him playing better. And I'm not gonna say he's hot and cold, but Heedle definitely has a lot of games where he stands out a lot, and then other games where it's like you don't even really notice him that much. From a production standpoint, this was his most productive year in terms of point per game. Probably not goals per game, but points per game at least was his most productive year. 22 points in 41 games, a little over a 0.5 or half a point a game, which isn't terrible. If you correlate that to his ice time, I'm not sure what his points per 60 is, but it's probably not very bad. Again, he's only 21 years old. He's still a kid, and he's a big kid. He's a fast kid. He's got good hands, so it would have been nice for him to take a big step this year, but we got to remember he is only 21 years old. And we knew he was going to be a longer-term piece when we first got him. We knew he wasn't going to just explode onto the scene, though, as much as we wanted him to. We knew it was going to take time, and we just got to be patient with that, because I do think Keitel's still going to be a very good player, but he's probably one of those guys that we're going to see thrown around in trade rumors, especially if it means getting a pretty big name back. Although I'm not one that wants to trade Filipino. I would prefer not to, but who knows. But I do agree with that. We did. All right, Rob again. Believe it or not, I'm okay with Jordan, but JD blew my mind. I was so happy when we got him. Now go back to Rangers. What? Yeah, I agree. Gordon's been here a while. I'm gonna see a whole lot of success on him, but as much as I bitch, it's not about. Blah. Yeah, another good comment. But I don't know. I don't think it's fair to fire. Because he never really got a chance. We didn't go into the season with expert analysts saying, oh, the Rangers are a playoff team. Like, the expectation was not for the Rangers to win the division. Unless you're Paul Bissonnette, again, on Spit and Chicklets. For some reason, he picked the Rangers to win the division. An outlier pick, but I don't know. It wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't. So, to kind of shit can him after not making the playoffs in a year where you weren't expected to make the playoffs as the youngest team in the entire NHL, I don't think it's very fair. I didn't think it was fair to fire him. I think that's the owner of a team stepping in way too early, and instead of letting things play out. That's just my opinion. D'Angelo probably goes to Seattle. I doubt it. I think D'Angelo gets bought out and goes to Montreal. That seems to be consensus. Yeah, I agree. Chris gotta go. Tortorella would ruin this team. Yeah, he would. 100% he would. I agree. He was perfect for those 2010 teams. I mean, that team, the Binskys, the Callahans, the Girardis, the McDonoughs, like those players, the shot blocking machines, the gritty motherfuckers that worked on low, the Haglunds, the Brandon Pruss, like those guys were perfect for a John Tortorella system. Brian Boyle, those guys were made for a Tortorella system. Alexi Lafreniere, Capo Caco, Artemi Panarin, Adam Fox, Nils Lundqvist, Keandre Miller, like Gauthier, like these are offensively geared players that are incredibly talented with the puck. They're not made for a Tortorella run team. That would be way too much clashing. A lot of players would be ruined. It just would be, it would seriously be a colossal disaster. Not that I'm saying I see you're polling this. I don't know what yeah, it's fair. I don't like the word already used in that, though. That's the only thing I disagree is the already 2 years into his contract. When we got him 7 years, and I think he kind of understood and knew that these first 2 years were not going to be playoff years. If this was year three, if this was next year and they fired Gordon at least by himself, maybe JD as well, I'd 100%. I wouldn't be as surprised, and I probably wouldn't be as upset. But 2 years in, I think it's a little too soon to fire somebody after 2 years into a rebuild. doing better. Yeah. I think Dolan definitely saw that because it didn't look like the Rangers are going to do much this offseason again. True. Yeah, we also don't know a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. Having said that, there's no reason I'll let JD. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. There is an argument can be made for at least Gordon, but JD was a tough one. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good line right there. Very odd. Yeah. Yeah, Quinn's got to go. Yep. Book, I don't know about Book going unless you're bringing in an asset as good or better than him. But even then, I don't know. Book this year, Buchnevich was like a discount Marian Hossel. Like that's the kind of guy you can win with. Yeah. Face-offs pretty tough. Cjethsyt looking at as a winner. So that's kind of what I was getting into, the inconsistencies of Hedel. But then again, he's still young, so we'll see. Trade value is really high, so something may come of that. I'm afraid that Hedel's going to go somewhere and just become an absolute animal. Yeah, facts. Facts. I like Drury a lot. Fresh perspective. Yeah, Drury's interesting. I just hope he doesn't get taken advantage over as one of the new GMs, because we've seen that happen. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the Rangers do need to get harder to play against. I think. I don't want to say we need a bruising physical presence, but having. I don't know. It's weird. Like, in a perfect world, like if Matthew could, let's just say the Rangers magically pluck Matthew Tkachuk out of the air. I don't think this conversation would really be had. Because Tkachuk's a skilled player. He could score. He does a lot of things. Like, he would fit well on this team, I think, but I don't think there's getting any of the Tkachuk brothers. I think their values are probably way over the hill right now. Yeah, I would say definitely some. Yeah, like that. I agree a lot with that sentence right there. Like it doesn't hurt to have physical players, but they need to be able to skate. They need to be able to move the puck in today's NHL. You cannot be slow in today's NHL. You just won't. You will not get away with it. You need guys that can move. Yeah, that was a good comment. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's funny at the end. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, I think if the Rangers are going to make a big move, I think it'll be at center. I mean, where the Rangers are as a team, they're not. I don't think the Rangers are really in the business of making small trades. I mean, they very well might, but I don't think it would happen unless there's a big trade coming because the Rangers are going to make a move. It's going to be for a big center, and I think the big center would really. So stupid. Yeah, get out of here. Make sure I didn't fuck up my recording. Okay, did not. It would be for like a Barkov on Eichel, and I'm fine with either one of them. I think Barkov is the better option. However, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want Jack Eichel, because I really want Jack fucking Eichel. I think it'd be pretty dope if we traded for Jack Eichel this offseason and signed Barkov next offseason, but that's just me. I don't think that would happen, but I think it'd be pretty damn dope to have Eichel and Barkov down the middle. That's two of the top 10 centers in the league. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Now, what happens to Zibanejad? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, you got to think Zibanejad wants to stay here, but will he? Will he ask for too much money? I don't know. I like Zibanejad a lot. I would hate to lose Zibanejad, but I definitely would take Barkov over Zibanejad, maybe. Yeah, I probably would. Eichel, I'd probably take over Zibanejad too, but I would rather have the eggs already in my basket than stealing other people's eggs and get rid of one of mine. So, I don't know. You got to be careful with Jack Eichel too. Got hurt this year with his neck. Little iffy on that. You definitely do not want to overpay for him too. That's going to be a scary thing, is hoping that the Rangers do not overpay. I think Barkov is probably the better option in just terms of what the Rangers are needing right now. But man, how awesome would it be to have Jack Eichel on this fucking team, man? Holy shit. That would be a fun team to watch. Either way, I'd be happy with either one of these guys. So I say we get both. The reason I do favor Barkov a little bit more, let me just go a little bit more in depth, is his face-offs. Great on face-offs. One of the best two-way players in the entire league. Should be a Selke candidate every single year. crazy hands, creates offense. Yeah, like, takeaways are through the roof. Just all around, just one of the best all around players in the league. And I would love Alexander Barkov, but I don't think Barkov's the guy you trade for. I think Barkov's the guy you sign if he hits UFA. Or if he's available at next year's deadline or something like that. Or you can get him for cheap in the summer. I think you make that move, but you need an extension in place. That's just my opinion. So just a quick outlook on that. So this is in the 2022-2023 off season. So this is after. So this is the year. This is the summer after next season. So next season happens, yada yada yada. We're in the 2022-2023 off season. I kind of rough estimate guess what these players were getting paid. I had Buchnevich at 5x5. I had Zibanejad at 9x8. I had Capo Caco 1 or 2x2. Kravtsov I gave 1.2 because I don't know if he's going to earn himself a big payday after next season. It's kind of hard to guess. Hedel I did 3x3, same what Lindgren got. Lindgren we obviously saw him. Fox I did 7 years, 8 years, $7 million a year. With only $4.5 million in cap space, it would be quite impossible for the Rangers to make any moves. Oh, also Cjethsyt I did 7x6.5. Like looking at this team right now, you cannot make a move, like a big move with this team. If the Rangers are making a big move, one or two of him is gone. One of them needs to be moved, or 2 or 3 of them need to be moved for making a big trade. If you're making a move for a guy like Eichel, you got to think Eichel's trade value has definitely gone down this offseason. And at this point, I think they waited too long on Jack Eichel because especially after the comments he literally just made today. And I know I said I didn't want to speculate too much, but let's be honest, that was not very pretty. Things he was saying and what he was feeling. So, to be honest, a trade, and I'm not really a fan of this, but like a Buchnevich, Hedel, a first, and Zachary Jones. That's a pretty good trade. I mean, that's a first-round pick. That's a young roster player that could very well be a number 1 center. That's a very good young defensive prospect that could be a top 2 defender. And I am not a fan of trading Pavel Buchnevich, but if you have to, you have to. I personally do not want to trade Buchnevich. I think it would be a huge mistake. But this is probably the price of Jack Eichel, and I don't think it's an overpay in terms of value, but I do think the Rangers are giving up too many assets, like big assets. The first round pick I could give a rat's ass about, but it's what Pavel Buchnevich is now. It's what Philip Hedel, Zachary Jones could be that worries me about this deal. Now you're getting Jack fucking Eichel. I know, one of the best centers in the game, but. Man, Buffalo, like, this is one of those moves where Buffalo moves out their best player, and this not only kickstarts a rebuild, but puts them in a similar situation to what Columbus was in when they made the Rick Nash trade, because when Columbus brought in, it only really took Dubinsky and Anisimov to, completely overhaul the Columbus Blue Jackets to make them to a playoff team, because that changed their identity. That took the Columbus Blue Jackets into build around Rick Nash to let's build around everybody, and just this gritty motherfuck team that swept the Tampa Bay Lightning in their President's Trophy year, so. I'm just saying, man, it's one of those things where the Sabres waited too long to do this move. His value depreciated, but they're still going to get some pretty damn good assets. And Hedel, Buchnevich, and Jones, and whatever that first round pick turns out to be, that's a lot of good shit to build around, man. I mean, sucks to lose Jack Eichel, the one big piece, but hockey's a team game. You got 20 players dressing every single freaking night, and to add 4 of them that are going to be in your top 9 offense, your top 6 offense, your top 4 on defense, and a first round pick, God knows what that turns into. It's a pretty good haul for one center, your first line center, in my opinion. So that's just what I think personally. It's a lot to give up, and it breaks my heart. And I'd probably rather trade Strome than Buchnevich, but I don't know if the Sabres want that, so I don't know. I really don't want to trade Buch, man. It would break my fucking heart if we traded Buchnevich. Like, in the perfect world, and I don't want to trade Strome either, because I think Strome is fucking awesome, and I think Panarin would be pissed if we traded Strome. But yeah, it would probably have to be Buch, because you're not trading Kakko. Well, I guess you could trade Kravtsov, but then it becomes a money issue, you know. Then it becomes a money issue. but let's just say it is because I don't want to trade Book. That's what your money issue looks like. Oh, you're going to do this. And you got to call the player. And you got to call the defenseman too. Yeah, you probably see Robertson by that time. Probably, I'm not saying it is Quarterenko, but you're going to see another rookie. I think Will Culley. It could be Will Culley. It's probably not. So then you're $2 million under. You got to find a way to move one of these other guys. Then your team probably looks something like this. Not bad at all, honestly. I think Kreider's going to be the guy you see the Rangers trying to move on from, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then another issue you run into is how you're going to re-sign the other guys with Trouba and Kreider's no move clauses. I mean, Strome's eventually just going to have to go. And then let's say the Eichel trade never happens. You do that. So we send Quarterenko back down. Send Robertson back down. And then you have, where is he? Barkov, sign UFA. Short by points, sign Barkov. Barkov is going to get 7 years. He's probably going to get $11 million minimum. And then this is the issue that you run into. You got too many, you just got too much of everything. So, I don't know. I mean, something's going to give. I think it would be really cool if the Rangers did this. And then that. I think that would be pretty damn cool. I think that would be really freaking cool. I mean, yeah, fuck me, man. I mean, how sick would that be? I mean, how absolutely sick would that be? It's just cap space. I mean, you don't really have the money to do it. It's kind of impossible. I mean, Zibanejad would probably have to go, but I don't know. I don't think it's ever a situation you could run into where you have too many centers. I don't think that's an existing issue. Okay. Now let's say somehow the Rangers get rid of Kreider and Trouba. Oops, you gotta do that. LTIR them. So just pretend they don't exist anymore. You got $5 million. You do this, and then you do again. These are just placeholders. I'm not saying these are the guys. Who am I missing? Did I forget to re-sign somebody? Oh, whoopsies. Whoopsies. You get your Justin Richards in there. Cully, Eichel, Payuniemi. I love Laurie Payuniemi, by the way. The kid's going to be sick. Who else do we have? Who do we have on our reserve list that actually might crack the show eventually? Yeah, Brett. He's probably further away then. What about UFAs? Do we have any UFAs that we plan on bringing back, do you think? I'm kind of just brainstorming right now, and I'm just dragging you along with it, so. Oh, yeah, Blackwell. I don't think the Rangers are going to bring back Blackwell, to be honest. I really don't think they're going. Oh, Kevin Rooney. Hold on. Whoopsies. Yeah. Rooney should come back. I love Kevin Rooney, man. He's been fucking awesome for us. So we'll send Quarterenko down. You got your Rooney, Barron. Probably see something like this. Rooney with just two young guys that they call up. Or two UFA signings. Something like this. Not a bad gig at all. Oopsie, yeah, Hendricks, I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing. And to be honest with you, man, not a bad team. Not a bad team at all. That's a team you can compete for a cup with. So I doubt this happens in real life. This is just me living in my fantasy land, wishing that real life was just like NHL 21, but alas, it is not. And then after this year, of course, you got to sign Lafreniere, Barron, Miller, Jones. You got to sign Nils eventually. You got to sign Robertson eventually, like Payuniemi. A lot of re-signings you have to do. Realistically, the team will never look like this, although I sit here and wish it could, because, I mean, you just sit there and tell me this is not what fucking sweet dreams are made of, you know? Like, oh, like, imagine having this many assets. Like, this is just, I mean, that's disgusting. That's honestly disgusting. You should feel ashamed of yourself. I mean, look at this. Like, you're just an animal. To even like to overstack a team like this. I mean, come on. Like, you're a disgusting human being to do these things. I mean, look at this. Look. What do you want me to do? Like, tell me what you want me to do, because quite frankly, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't. You probably don't do something like this. We'll put Eichel in the Schmittel. Where's Breadman? I mean, come on. What the hell am I supposed to do? Say no? Am I supposed to say no to this? Oh, hold on. My bad. Do this. Like, come on. Really? You're an animal. Absolute animal for doing something like that. Could you imagine this fucking unit out there, man? Are you kidding me? You got an all-star team as your fucking power play unit? First of all, tell me this isn't enough to make you just explode, bro. Like, this is... Oh, man. Well, I'm going to quit dreaming because I'm playing around too damn much. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know you guys' thoughts on everything I've said, everything I've done. And I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll chit-chat. We'll see what the future holds. I'm excited for it. See you guys in the next one. Peace.